I'm Benjamin, 44. I'm living in a small village in the countryside of Luxembourg with my wife and 2 boys. I'm from Brussels originally. I'm in Luxembourg now for 15 years. And I studied computer engineering in Belgium, Louvain-la-Neuve, for those who know. And I started my career as a consultant in multinational consulting companies for 10 years. I traveled all around the world, managing mainly IT projects. Then, after these 10 years, I had the opportunity to become entrepreneur. First, I helped a friend to found his own startup, and then I founded my own in Luxembourg and then in Switzerland. While I was doing that, I was relatively successful, so I've been approached by some VCs who hired me to manage some of the startups in which they invested. So over the last 4 years before starting Fiveoffices, I was the CEO of a pharmaceutical startup for public and private Brussels-based investment funds. In parallel with that, I also have a hobby. I'm an angel investor at B Angels, Luxembourg, where we invest in very early stage startups. It is very nice to be able to share opportunities and ideas and support young entrepreneurs with their brilliant ideas that we see today. I started Fiveoffices with my co-founders a few months ago, so it's very new, very young company, Fiveoffices. And we started from the observation that in today's world, there are many companies that have unused office spaces, empty offices, everywhere. Only in Luxembourg, you see hundreds of empty offices because of the economy, the uncertainty in the economy. Many companies right now start shrinking their teams, start rationalizing their office spaces, and they end up with unused offices. You also have the post-COVID new working habits. Many people want to work from home now, which means that many companies end up with unused offices. And also, from the beginning, you have these landlords who have big buildings and they are looking for a tenant, but they somehow force the tenant to take the full piece, even if they need less. So you see here in Luxembourg only many tenants that have from the start, for the entire duration of their rent, 1 or 2 floors, for instance, that are going to remain empty. Many unused offices. And on the other hand, we see many companies in today's world who are looking for office spaces, but who don't necessarily want to get tied into a 3, 6, 9 years long-term rental contract, because it's very difficult for them to predict how big they will be in a few years' time. So they would like to find more flexible office rental solutions, but they don't find it, or except if they want to do co-working, but that's a different story. It's not for all startups, not for all companies. So many companies having unused office spaces and many companies looking for flexible office rental options. And we decided to do something where I was talking with my 2 co-founders, Robert and Daniel. We decided to do something about that and to build a platform, the Fiveoffices platform, where all these companies having too much space can register as hosts and can list their empty offices. And they will specify the rent they would like to get from these spaces and the duration they are ready to lease or sublease them. It's going to be typically on the platform between 2 and 24 months, because the idea is to offer flexibility from these unused spaces. And then you have all these companies looking for office spaces who are going to use the platform as guests. They will search on the platform for the office they need, and they will find exactly the style, the size, the price that they are looking for, and most importantly, mid-term, short-term or mid-term durations. They don't need to commit to long-term rental contracts anymore on the Fiveoffices platform. If they're looking, they can have shorter commitments, and that's very, very important for us. If you want to build something big, you need, of course, you need it to be scalable. You need your project to be very scalable. When we started Fiveoffices, we immediately had a very high ambition. We decided, okay, we want to do this, but we don't start this project to remain a small platform among others. Our ambition is to be in 3, 4, 5 years the reference in flexible office rental worldwide, nothing less. We want to eradicate empty office spaces worldwide. When you have an ambition like this, and that's the advice I would give when you start a new company, a startup, you need to visualize your destination. You need to know, okay, this is what I want to be in 3, 4, 5 years. That's my vision. That's where I want to go. That's my ambition, my objective. Once you visualize your objective, the next step is to define your itinerary. How am I going to get there? What are the steps? What are the main phases to get there? And we started somehow retroactively, you know? You have the vision, and then what do I need to have in place in order to run, to get there? And then, okay, before that I need to have all of this done, and before that I need to have all of this done. And we really defined some steps in a business plan, like pretty simple, but very clear and very ambitious. And that's our itinerary. We know it's not going to be a straight line from the beginning. We're not going to reach the itinerary in a straight line. There will be ups and downs, there will be left and right. But at every step, we keep our destination in sight. That's very important. And in order to reach that destination, at Fiveoffices, we know we are a platform, so the condition, the main criteria for every decision we make, whether it's about operations, hiring people, architectural decision about the platform, we need to make sure it's scalable. We need to make sure that this choice is approaching us one step closer to the destination and will enable us to grow fast and to scale fast. So if you have a very ambitious project, there is a high probability that you will need to raise funds at some point. As an entrepreneur, what is important to you when you want to raise funds is to be in a strong position in front of potential investors. You want to be able to negotiate the highest possible valuation for the fundraise, and so that you are not too much diluted. Your position is not too much diluted and you can stay the master of your ship. In order to be able to negotiate the highest valuation, there are some key advices, I would give. So, first of all, in the journey, you need to have sufficient money to fund your MVP yourself. That's very important, because if you arrive in front of investors without an MVP, you have nothing to show except your idea and your slides. Then, of course, for investors, they will maybe feel the potential, but they will also understand that the risk is very, very high that you're not able to execute your vision. So the valuation will depend for the investor on the potential they see in your project, but also the risk they take. If you are able to demonstrate that there is a very high potential and a pretty low risk, then you will get a super good valuation, of course. And when you only have slides, it's clear that the angel investors who are going to put money in your project will take minimum 30%, or, I mean, you will be highly diluted from the beginning, which is not ideal to start. So, first step, gather the necessary funds from yourself, your bank account, your friends, your family to be able to fund your MVP. That's what we have done at Fiveoffices. We have developed the MVP, we have launched it on the 30th of June. Once you have an MVP, you are in a different position in front of investors. You can tell them, look, I have built it, you can play with it, it works, it's there. You are in a reasonably good position in front of investors. If you want to be in a better position in front of investors, you need to have, in addition to the minimum viable product, a proof of concept. You need to be able to demonstrate to potential investors that there is traction around your project, that people see the potential, that you already have some first clients, some first potential clients who show interest in your project. Demonstrate that there is traction. We have done that with Fiveoffices because now we have almost 300 offices on the platform from hosts. And we see every day new guests signing up and searching for offices and starting discussions with hosts. This is happening on the platform. And we have more and more matches that are currently being done on the platform. So we have reached that stage where we have an MVP and a proof of concept, which is putting us in a position, in a much better position in front of investors. If you want to be in a really good position in front of investors, you need to have an MVP, you need to have a proof of concept and a proof of business. Proof of business is when you can show that you're earning money with your project. Even if it's still small, you have clients paying for your product or services. This is a step. Honestly, it's not necessarily easy. And you need to be able to demonstrate that you have clients happy to pay for your product and services. Once you have that, you are in a much better position in front of investors, of course. And we have reached that step as well with Fiveoffices because now we have our first deals signed on the platform, which shows that, okay, it's not only a product with a potential, now we have clients, people ready to pay for it. We can show that. And if you want to be in the best possible position in front of investors, you need to have not only the MVP, not only the proof of concept, the proof of business, you need to have the proof of scalability. You need to be able to demonstrate to an investor that you know how to scale and that you are able to execute this scaling phase if you have money on your bank account, if you have investors with you. We are at that step at Fiveoffices only 2 months after the launch and in the summer month, where we want to show that it works, that we can scale the project in 2 or 3 additional European cities with different cultures, like with Paris, French-speaking, of course. London is probably one of the next steps with a very different culture, English, and then a German-speaking country. If we succeed in that, we'll show that we can grow, that we know how to grow, that we know how to replicate that scaling phase if we have more money on the bank account. If you are able to come in front of investors with a proof of concept, a proof of an MVP, a proof of concept, a proof of business, and a proof of scalability, you are in a very strong position. Now, coming back to your questions, when should you raise? Well, you raise when you need money, basically. So it depends how much you can gather at the beginning, how much you can fund yourself with your family and friends. Can you, or at least fund the MVP? That's the minimum you should probably do. But if you can go one step further on your own funds then do it, because you will raise in totally different conditions with a proof of concept. If you can even finance the next steps, which is the proof of business, you will be in a much better position, and so on. So it depends basically what you have from the start, what you have at the beginning on your bank account, and how fast you can move from one step to another. That's why we want to move very fast at Fiveoffices. So the way we do it at Fiveoffices is the way any company should probably do it. There are 3 focus points for us. The first one is the people, the team. If we don't hire the right team, there is no way we can succeed. With the ambition we have, if we don't have the right people on board with the motivation and the passion for the project, we will not make it. So we spend a lot of time and energy selecting the people, but also energizing them, sharing the passion, make them understand. And really, when I talk about the project, it's not a business for me. It's much more than that. It's a passion, it's an ambition, it's something that I believe so much in, that I'm sharing this energy with the entire team. And people we select are people sharing the same passion. Second, very important aspect is the product. Of course, we're a platform, so we need the product to be to serve our ambition in the best possible way. And our ambition is to make it super easy for companies having empty office spaces to rent these spaces on the platform. So right now, many companies have empty spaces and are not doing anything with these empty spaces. They are not monetizing them, they just leave them empty because they don't know how to do it. They don't know, they are not B2B real estate professionals, they don't know how to make a subleasing contract, the regulation, the rent indexation, the lease renewals and so on. These are all Chinese, this is all Chinese for them, so they don't want to spend energy there because it's not their business. But now they have Fiveoffices, which is making the process of subleasing unused office spaces so easy that there is no more excuse. If you don't monetize your empty spaces, it makes no sense. Not only financially, but also for the planet. So do it now. There is an easy way to do it. There was not before, now there is. Product is absolutely key in the equation. And the last part is the clients. So people, product, clients. Of course, we need to listen to our clients. We need to make sure that we have people happy to pay for our services on the platform. So happy that they are talking about it around them. This is how a platform will succeed. If happy clients become ambassadors and start talking around them about the added value of Fiveoffices for them, this is going to be the key to success. Yeah, for that, I'm going to talk about an experience before Fiveoffices, even before I was working for VCs. I started my own company, my own startup here in Luxembourg. And the mistake I made was that I never raised funds. Because the business model was quickly profitable. So after only a few months, I was earning money, enough to pay myself, to pay my staff, and to have a good life. So why would I raise funds if I'm already generating profits? I could reinvest that profit in the company and scale it. That was a mistake. First, because I remained alone as the captain of the ship. I had no one to really support me with other experiences like investors could have. When they put money in the company, they don't only put money most of the time. At least that's what you expect. You also expect them to support you, to help you, to open doors, and so on. I had no one to help me. And also, the profit that we were generating, and I didn't see that at that moment, was far not enough to move to the next level. And at the end, my company disappeared because of competitors. Big lesson for me. Even if you start making money early, think about fundraising. That's very important.